afternoon. All right, so we started this last time talking about structured and behavioral models, and we did, I think, focus a lot on the class diagram so far. We got to understand its own relation types from association to aggregation to composition. We've seen dependency, we've seen, what else? What else? Okay, we've seen realization, and of course generalization that simply builds up the inheritance level. We talked about the composition and aggregation and how related they look to be, and also how to map this into a possible example in coding. Remember when we talked about inner classes? All right, we also talked about different annotation formats. So how would we present these numbers, whether as a many or a single or zero, and so on. So we stopped it here, I believe, with a case study, right? So let me just go through the actual requirements gathered and the final model of the class diagram. So here we can say, for example, store customer details. And again, we want to avoid any ambiguity. So we want to provide these details, like what are these? Name, address, credit rating, and so on. Then we can subdivide this into personal and corporate. Again, telling what features is meant for this guy, what features are meant for the other guy. Allow each customer to place multiple orders, and here you can start talking about the relation types. Is it one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many? If they were clear enough. If not, then you can put it part of the assumption to validate with the end user side. We can talk about deleting order lines automatically if their order is removed, and this is quite important. So this can either indicate aggregation or composition. Yeah. So if we said it has to be deleted automatically if the order was removed, this means what? Aggregation or composition? Composition, right? But if we don't delete it if the order was removed, it means it's aggregation. So here it's done the opposite way actually, but I have to fix this. So we have here aggregation, but again this depends on the assumption you put in the requirements. Sorry. So that's how we mapped it into a class diagram. Now we have the order, the customer, the corporate customer, the personal customer, right? And we have the relation here is meant to be one customer placing many orders, and I do have these two inheriting from customer. Each has its own list of attributes and properties. But then I can also tell that this one here came as a subset of the order, and as we can say, if this one now is removed, this will either stay or get removed. Based on your assumption, it's either aggregation or composition. Okay, perfect. Now let's look into two other types of interaction known as interaction models. We have use case diagram, and I think we briefly introduced it before. And the other one here is known to be sequence diagram. From what the name here suggests, this diagram focuses on use cases. This one focuses on the sequence of events. Okay? So let's read this scenario first. Okay. We're having a reader who reads a book. So that's my key use case now, right? Then I have opening box, closing box, right? So to start reading a book, is it mandatory that you open the book?
No, once you yes.
Yeah, let's talk about physical box, okay? So I have to open the book to start reading, yeah? Sorry. Okay, to start reading. Then once you're done, you have to close the book, right? So these two are mandatory to happen, right? But it could be the case that it's a very long page, so I just read that page, and then I close the book, so one page thing, right? Or it can be the case that I'm turning pages, so I'm excited to read more than one page. Yeah? So is it going to happen all the times that I read more than one page? Not every time. So it can be one page, then you're satisfied. Yeah? Then it could be 2 pages, 3 pages where you need to turn pages. So here, we call this now an optional feature. So it might happen, it might not happen. So here, you might need to differentiate between include and extend. Include means it's mandatory. It has to be done, okay? So every time you call this feature, it's gonna be simply calling out these two other use cases. But this one might simply be an extension. So it happens or not. Like, let's give a software-related example. For example, we're having a login screen, the login, the best scenario, okay? So what are the possibilities? You enter username and password, and it's perfectly fine, right? It gets you into the system, and you can just do whatever job inside. There might be one case where you forget your password, right? But how frequent out of 10 times this might happen?
Not always.
Do you forget your password every time you enter?
No.
Maybe once every month, once every
use it
10.
every day, of course you won't forget it.
Thank you. So this might not even be used by any user, right? At certain point, but it might be the case that other users will need it. So here, if I'm talking about login, this is my key use case, right? Validating username and password, is it include or extend?
Extend.
So every time you enter a username and password, the system validates it, right? So this has to happen. So this is include, right? But the forget password, so this is extend. Because again, it might happen, it might not happen. So we don't want to end up with that scenario, okay? Starting with a perfect design, ending with a very bad prototype, okay? So what are the measures that take you from here to there? Knowing your timeline, knowing your resources, and most importantly, working with the right requirements, as we agreed before. So when we validate our requirements and then we move towards design, then we're able to validate our design. This can tell us that we're moving towards the right implementation, right? Okay, let's start now with the use case models. So I think we've seen similar models before in a previous chapter, but we never digged into how to build it, right? So let's first start with that list of samples that we can use. We're having use case, right? Use case usually is presented by an oval shape where you put the name of this text inside. Has to be very brief, 2-3 words, okay? Similar to managing groups, visiting groups, logging in, registering, just 1-2-3 words maximum, okay? All right. Then we have an actor, and an actor in our case is not necessarily a human. Could be a human, could be a system, could be an API, could be a service, right? So it's any entity that could possibly interact with the system at any point. Again, keep in mind, okay, I'll jump to that point later, it's okay. So here we have a boundary. So what is the boundary? Who can tell me? So I'm designing, let's say, Moodle. That's my boundary system, right? So I can show who are the actors interacting with this boundary directly, like faculty, admins, students, and so on, right? But then my system could possibly interact with another system, yeah? Like, for example, let's consider Amazon. So your Amazon application could be subdivided into subsystems, right? And every subsystem is simply a domain. We call it boundary, yeah? Like what? So we can purchase items. So we call it online ordering system. Agree? This system or this subsystem is connected to another subsystem for payment, yeah? Which might be connected to another subsystem for
returning system.
Returning, thank you. Inventory management, right? So inventory management, order management, payment management. These work together to provide you Amazon, yeah? So in that case, I'm not gonna provide a single boundary. Each of them, in that case, would be a boundary. And every boundary could be linked to one or more actors, right? And actors could be shared between different boundaries. Agree? Yeah? Okay, so I have three possible connection types, either a simple association. So this is simply a straight line. Never use ours. This is wrong, okay? Apology, okay. So a single line, or a single line that has include or extend, which we explained already, right? So who can tell me the include versus extend? Yes, Lean.
Include or something, some stuff that are necessary.
Excellent.
While extend, it might be like not always the case.
Very good. So this is mandatory, but this one is optional, right? But let's look into that example. How many user, how many actor do you see?
4.
Main ones.
2, 3.
2. Why?
The user.
The social network API.
User and the social network API. Now this one is subdivided into two. Registered user and new user. Again, this is behavioral or structured model.
Behavior.
Exactly. Why?
Because.
Do you know what's inside this class? No. Do we know what's inside this? Attributes? Do we keep track of name, age? No, we don't see this, right? So again, we don't pick one type that's best for us. Your design document needs to have all these documents, all these diagrams, sorry, okay? So we start now with these two. Each of them is linked to specific use cases. So I can say new user has to register, but existing user can simply view data, can manage accounts, can manage groups, can visit a group, right? But all users can simply do what? Can view data, manage account, manage groups, visit groups, and register a new account. All right, so what apply to the sub, apply to the super. Now, this guy here can simply access only one of these use cases, which is managing accounts. True? Clear? So this is nothing but generalization, as we agreed inheritance apply here. So as we mentioned as well, this can be a person, like a receptionist, or it can be a record system, yeah? It can be an API, like this example, it could be a service, and so on. Now this is a more detailed example. So we have here how many possible actors? 4. We have the patient, we have the scheduler, the doctor, the clerk, right? How many use cases the patient can do?
4.
Can you name them?
Cancel appointment, make appointment, request medication, pay bill.
Excellent. How about doctors?
1.
Which is?
Medication.
Request medication. Excellent. Scheduler. 2.
Make appointment.
Cancel and make. Excellent. Clerk.
1. Pay bill.
Very good. Right. Let's look into the sub-use cases now that are connected to your main ones. So let's check this one first. Check patient record. So before you start any new appointment, it has to be conflict-free with the existing patient record, right? So this is one. So requesting medication also requires that you check the existing record, yeah? So has he been under medication, let's say, before? Did he visit, let's say, another clinic within the hospital before? You just need to look into that history, right? So this is mandatory or optional? Ask yourself.
Optional.
Really?
No, it's mandatory.
It's part of the diagnosis. Like doctors cannot really provide medication without seeing the record of the patient. So it's mandatory, part of the diagnosis process. Okay, now how about this? I could have the option to pay my pill on any system. Let's forget about this one. I have the option to pay my pill in cash, via Visa, right? PayPal, whatsoever. Or simply use system like Tamara to make installments. So I defer payment.
Yeah.
Is it the case that every time I go for it, I'm deferring the payment?
Yes.
Not any. Depends.
It's an option,
Yeah.
but maybe I can use it or not, right? So it could be the case that I'm a user who would like to pay the pill directly. but someone else might need to defer the payment. I might do it in one of my orders out of 10, right? So this is now an option that's added on top of that feature, but not necessarily used. Sorry. Okay, so this is simply telling you this is extent. Now the direction of these arrows are quite important. So we said the main ones usually are straight lines, yeah? But when we use include or extend, we need to use an arrow. And usually it points towards the whole, the main use case, okay? So look at these two. Which one is the most important? Paying the pill or deferring the pill? So this one is the main, so it points towards it, right? Here, requesting medication is the main one to start, to check the patient record, or checking patient record to request the medication?
Check patient record.
Yep. Requesting, like you do request, then they check your record, or they check your record and then you request.
No, we request.
You request first. So this one comes first, yeah? This one goes next. So here the include points towards the later in the steps, okay? Okay. So use cases are not this easy as it look, okay? So they might just turn your design document into a minimum of 10-15 pages. Not just a single model. It's one model, of course, that show the system, the boundaries, how they interact together. Let me show you something before we move on. So we discussed before the boundaries. Now let's look at this example. All right, can you tell me how many boundaries exist here? 3 boundaries.
4.
So it's one big, which is the whole system, right? Then 1 for diagnosis, 1 for prognosis, 1 for recovery, if I'm reading well, okay? So these are 3 sub-boundaries and 1 big boundary, right? So the idea of boundaries in general, this could be the case. You have, let's say, 3 different applications working together. 2 actors are interacting with use cases in application 1, while one of these use cases include or extend, let's say, another use case existing in another application, another boundary, and it could extend in a chain, right? And there could be other actors interacting with these other boundary layers. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, keep in mind the idea of order, inventory, payment, okay? In Amazon, let's say, or any other similar application. This can tell you how to subdivide your system and consider these boundaries later perhaps as packages or connected classes. So back here, now every one of these use cases, so here for example, how many use cases in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 7 use cases. It means now for each of them, I'm gonna build an entire table or card. We call it use case card. This is the template, general one for it. So you start by saying, okay, use case number, just give it any possible number. What is the context of use? Describe it in more details, right? Then we look into the scope. So how do you want to define this? What are the key functions you want to deliver? Then what's the primary actor? Like for Moodle, let's say this is going to be admin, faculty, student, right? So I list them one by one. Then who are the possible stakeholders? End user, who requested this? Could be Al-Faisal, right? Who is the investor? So it could be sponsored. Agree? So we just list these details here. Then, success and condition. We have two options. Our system feature runs without any problem, or it could be the case where you run it and you experience a failure, right? So, the first scenario, so this is success condition, you just list it. So for example, the state of word upon success completion, what's going to happen? And the proper state of the word if the goal was abandoned. So what's going to happen if something wrong happened at a certain point? Then what could trigger this failure? So what is the main cause? What is the main reason behind it? Okay. So for example, you try to enter your credentials, right? But then you experienced failure. Like this is not the right credential. What could be the reason behind it? You start asking. Could be the case that you enter the case caps on instead of caps off, right? Could be that you tried using your old password instead of the new one.
Or sometimes it happens with me. The keyboard is Arabic instead of English.
Thank you. Could be Arabic instead of English. So now see this? These triggers need to be well tested. Yeah? Because again, the module might be very well implemented, but again, the trigger is something that's from the user side. They have to fix it. But again, you can customize proper messages for them to double check these. All right. Then we try to look into the main course of action. So what's going to happen in the best possible scenario? List it in 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, as it takes. Then what if we have branches, like when we said there are failing scenarios, right? So start talking about them again, step by step. Then some open issues that I haven't yet addressed under this feature, right? So it could be like what? What could be an open issue, let's say? So remember when we talked about requirements, we talked about functional requirements, non-functional requirements, then prioritized requirements. We said sometimes the user wants a feature to be done immediately, right? So you give it high priority. And sometimes you can break it down into important delivery increment and you keep the rest for later. So I can provide the important part of this module while the rest will stay as open issues. So we haven't yet addressed them, okay? Now, sequence diagram. I'll just introduce it, okay? Then we will discuss it next time. So sequence diagram simply uses these models. You might see some common attributes or common samples, like an actor, which is a stick man, an object, which is a box, usually on top of your diagram. You have activation channel, which is usually similar to this one, like a column. There is messages sent back and forth. We'll talk about the different format later. And there is the destroy element, which usually comes towards the end. Is there any point where any actor could be destroyed?
Yeah.
Like what?
Delete account.
Delete account, excellent. Or log out. Log out is simply destroy of a session, right? So here you tell, okay, once you log in, what's going to happen? Then once you're done, once you click on the log out, it goes back into destroy case. Yeah? So the sequence diagram tells you what happens inside every transaction in the same right order. So here, looking at this model, I can say, okay, this happened first. Then this. Then this. Then this. Now the direction of the arrow can tell you also how the process goes. So here you send the request. Yes?
Yes.
Here you receive something. So okay, this is not quite like the best example because it's not software related, but I'll show you other possible scenarios later. So for now, I can request a service and then I receive it. Like this one, I'm sending an order, I'm receiving an order. Usually, the request initiation comes to be a solid arrow between the first entity that initiates this request and the stage that will handle the request. This could be another entity, like a client, let's say, in that case. Okay? Then, The return part is what we do it as dashed arrow. Okay? Here you just title this. What's going to happen here? What do you expect? And in most of the cases, you don't even have this. You can just write it on top of the arrow itself. So what is the activation here? Who can tell me? What do we mean by activation? Starting, exactly. So here, if I told you how long the business was active in your session,
The whole time.
you're the person who is initiating all requests. So the moment you started logging in, all the way till the final log out, or the destroy part, you're still active. Yes? How about the manufacturer? When were they active?
When you ordered the
Only when you ordered the item and it responded back to you. How about the client?
When you sent the order.
Only when you sent the order and it sent you back the order. So these are the activation channels, okay? We will discuss this in more details, inshallah, next time. For now, do you have any question on what we covered today? Easy? Wallah? Do you like that part more? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so next time we will look into also another case study for sequence diagram. I'll try to also add one for you on use cases, so you can practice this in class, inshallah.
Doctor, can you tell us about اللي هو IEE event؟
Oh, yes.
هذا هو السيم event اللي احنا المفروض.
Yes. So IEEE is the one you're expected to register in, inshallah. Again, from يعني college level, this could be the only possible bonus you might get in this course, okay?
طيب كم percent؟
So I will do it in a way that it counts like a fourth assignment, okay? And this fourth assignment based on your overall performance. But again, we will put some rules to it, okay? So it's not just participation. We need you to score high places, okay? So again, you get good part of the grade if you just participated, but the big part of it, the credit behind, will be left for achieving something, okay? So please take this opportunity. It's really great one. I think for like 2-3 years minimum, you will talk about it. So make sure you participate, learn the rules behind it, go for some videos, let's say people talking about it, how to participate, how to start solving problems. I'll also talk to the IEEE people to start sending some good resources by email. But for now, keep an eye on the dates, because in 2 days the registration will end. Okay? So please do register as soon as possible. It has to be in teams of 4, let's say. So group your teams, register, only one person register the entire team on the system. I think you will all need to be members though.
Yeah.
Make sure you do this, okay? And if you need any help at any point of time, please reach out, okay? I think one is enough to register for the membership. But the thing is, if you scored a high, let's say, rank, IEEE will only contact the person who participated, who actually paid for the membership, I guess. So they will be the only people getting the certificates, the official one. It's not costly, it's like, I think 100 Saudi or something. If you can't afford it, just let me know, okay? So that's what we have, all right?
طيب what if the other members want to have this, can they pay؟
Okay, the member who cannot pay and they decide just to be on the system, fine, but they will not receive the certificate from IEEE people. They
okay.
usually do send the certificate for all participants, I think 1 month or 2 months after the competition. And if there is, let's say, a top rank, like last year, let's say we had the first top rank in Saudi, so that team was communicated for special prizes. So they do it with only registered members, okay? But if you did not do it, then they only contact, let's say, the person in the team who made the registration official. You got me? So again, there's no stress on the payment part. If you want to do it, if you don't want to do it, fine. Just let us know so we can at least help, okay? All good? All right, so I think the steps were sent out also by email. Let us know, please, if you need any help at any point. And no attendance. Thank you so much. Today is your free day. Tomorrow, inshallah, Tuesday, inshallah, we start. Thank you, ladies. خلاص, we're done for today, okay? Thank you.
How do I register?